2007 PT Cruiser. I believe a 2.4 liter non-turbo. Trouble is, it'll start like once a day and run 5 or 10 seconds. Some days it might run a little bit longer. You put it in gear and it'll stall out really quick. I know it's got spark, it's got compression, so it's got to be a fuel issue. Timing's good. So this is how you hook up your fuel pressure test kit. There's your fuel line. This goes behind that hose, plugs into there. That little clip goes on there on the other side of that lip, and then this plugs into it. I'm going to take this, shove that little clip on there like that. To pull that off, you have to pinch that in, pull that off over it, and then get that thing back off. This, click on that line down there. I'll put my gauge on that. All right. And I've got my gauge. So it's got a bleeder so I can relieve fuel pressure. Take it, run the other end of it into a gas can. Let's go turn the key on and see if it pumps. So nothing there. So we're not getting any fuel pressure. This is your totally integrated power module. I took the air cleaner off, unhook it, and just pull it out. You got two 10mm bolts. These are T20 Torx. This is supposed to be unserviceable online. I looked a while ago and a new one's over $900. See some other places they're around, you know, Dorman or something like that, or Cardone, $400, $500, $600. So let's see if we got any corrosion in this thing. I don't know. This dadgum Chrysler, you know, rather than putting a relay up here, they have them incorporated into it. So if you have a relay go bad, there you go, $1,000. So we'll see what we find here. To get these out, to get the top off, first you pry them out, pull that out, and you got to pry these out, and then you slide it up on those. But I'm gonna have to unbolt this, which I've already done. These are 10mm. Then pull this thing up so we can kind of see what we see here. So to get these off, you push down on that tab and you pull up on that, kind of pull them apart. Pull these out of here. There's a little tab you push in, unplug them. This gray one goes here, little tab you push in, pry it out, and then that's your hot going straight to your battery. So we're going to take that off now. And this is a 13mm here. And make sure you unplug before you do this stuff, or you're going to destroy your electronics. There's a $900 or $1,000 fuse box. Let's see what's inside of it. Let's pull it apart here. Oh, there we are. I don't see any corrosion. Now you don't want to go freaking touching that stuff and destroy something with static electricity on your fingers. Alright, so I'm looking around in here. I don't see anything bad. Nothing's blown. Nothing's fried. Electrical engineer told me that a lot of times things like this don't even go bad, but if you look at them under a microscope, if you have something bad, it'll be a cracked solder joint. He was right about a laser I was working on. Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to drop the fuel tank, so I'll get my transmission jack. Or a friend, if you have one. Anyway, these things twist and they're just a big, platform that comes up. Harbor Freight Special. 15 millimeter. And ramps, chocks, in parking brake set. You got a strap there, and then you got a strap right there where the muffler's in the way, of course. And you might have to disconnect this. You want your tank empty if you can. And on the other side over there, you get all this emission stuff to watch and check, disconnect, and there's videos on YouTube how to change the fuel pump in these. So this is why I was saying you want your tank pretty much empty. So there's your filler, your fill line for your tank here. And you can see if you had very much gas, you're gonna get it everywhere. This is the line it vents when you're putting gas in it. So if you can't put gas in a car and it just clicks off constantly, then this line here somewhere up in that circuit will be plugged up. Anyway, so it's just a regular hose clamp here. This little thing, you gotta be careful. These are fairly brittle, but this seems okay. There's you can't really see it too well, but there's a piece of white-ish plastic here. To take that off, you squeeze that in with a pair of pliers and it'll release this thing. You pull it off. And all the rest of the fuel lines is the same way. So that's your, I can't remember, a vent line, I think. Over here on this side next to the rail there was one of your EGR lines, or not an EGR, some type of emissions line, and then your fuel line was up on the front of your tank over in that area. I believe that's your canister, so I use a transmission jack, Harbor Freight Special. Strapped it around it. It's ratcheted down here. And then to get this one out, I took the bolt completely out and shoved it all the way over that corner and managed to pop it down through there. So now I'm just gonna take this down real slow, and it's kind of looking like this wants to get caught up on this muffler, so I'm probably gonna have to shift it to the side, maybe even tip it down. So can't really film that because my hand would have to be over the end of that if I get too much gas in that end, but we'll see how far we can go here. Before I go any further, I guess I'll use man's third best friend. I know it comes down to, well, maybe fourth. Got dogs, duct tape, wives, and electrician's tape. Anyway, whatever. The white thing, that's your gas fuel. So we want to keep stuff out of there. So what I'm gonna do, just to keep the dirt out of it, and then this vent line, actually I'm probably just gonna blow it out because it had some really nasty looking gas in it. is our fuel pump. Now, it would have been a real simple thing for him to put a little access panel under the seats, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but hey, at least Jeep did it, and Jeep freaking sucks to work on. But anyway, I was going to buy the special tool to get those off, and I said, you know, it might be a metal one, so I'm glad I waited. So I want to hook up some 12 volt to this thing and see if it's going to run. So you can see over here, those two lines. So this is your main plug that goes up to your wiring harness on your frame arm. And then this one goes to this. And I don't know if that's a some kind of vacuum pump or what. I'm sure somebody can put it in there. I'm not worried about all that stuff. I'm not having problems with that. I'm having fuel pressure. So I don't have the names to all this stuff. I don't know. Chrysler duct tape. Good stuff. Anyway, clean this up. Okay, so take these electrical connectors off. You push them like that first. And that's the same thing with these other ones over here. They had a little red thing. You gotta push it, and then you push down on that, and that's gonna lift this up, and then you can slide them off. You should not have to force them off. Depending on if it's gas or diesel, your fuel pump goes in a certain location. So I'm gonna make me a mark here. This thing's got to be oriented a certain way. So you should use a brass chisel, a wooden hammer probably, heck, I don't know. But since I don't have any of that stuff and I don't have the right things, I'm gonna use a metal hammer, a metal chisel, and then if you see a boom from your house today, 2021, you'll know what happened. Well, that was a little easier than I thought. The reason I'm pulling this off, I want to see what wire goes to where, and I'm hoping I can trace it out. It looks to me like your fuel pumps are black and red in here, and they're on the far right and far left of that. Before we order the part, I want to confirm the diagnosis. But this is a T-pin, T-E-E-P-I-N. You can buy a pack of 50 of these for a couple dollars. Get you some. I got me a test light. I clamped me a little T-pin in it. So what I'm going to do, I know that the outside, right and left, should be getting voltage for that fuel pump. So now what I want to do is I want to go and I'm going to check the ohms resistance to find out the routing of the wire, since we do not have a wiring diagram. So since I don't have a wiring diagram, we're going to show you how to work on stuff like this. Well, you don't have the money, but you got the smarts, right? So we don't have any voltage, no battery, no nothing hooked up to this. And that little setting there is just something that when I do this, you can hear it, right? So now what we want to do is we know that the far right and far left. So we've got a blue with a red stripe, and then one of these two blacks here. It looks like I got two blacks. So I'm going to take, and you always hear these mechanics talking about back probe and stuff so you don't spread points. So we'll stick a T-pin. Whoops. We'll stick a T-pin back here, like so, in the back of this connector. And then I'm going to follow it over to the other side over there. Now, this one goes up to that, whatever that thing is. This goes to the wire on the rail of the car. So what I need to do is I'm going to find that wire on the outside, one of those wires, very gently, you know. I'm just 1, 2, 3. So this one goes to the rail of the car like that. Now, this one right here, it's going to be sitting on that rail. So it's the top one closest to the passenger side. When it's clicked in place, that is going to be one of the wires that drives the fuel pump. So we're going to take our T-pin, stick it in our outside hole. I'm going to take my other test lead, I'm going to lay across there, and I'm just going to clamp them. This test light's not being used right now, I'm just using the clamp. So if I want to make sure that I got contact, very gently, I just touch there. So I know I've got continuity. There's some contact somewhere. So now I take this. So remember, we said the wire on the red black is, if it's sitting on the frame arm, it's the top one towards the outside passenger side, so that'd be that one. Now let's see what this one is, the other one. So with this clicked on the frame, the top 2 wires, that is the power wires for my fuel pump in this tank. So now I'm going to go up, I'm going to turn the key on, and I'm going to see if I get some power to those 2. Well, let's see if that works. You don't know what the problem is? This is what I think the problem is. You take this, you got plenty, right? Nothing. Watch this. I could see, you can see kind of like the drain stuff. There was some brown stuff on here from where they'd corroded. It works. Dadgummit. So I think the problem is that connector. With this right here, there's some kind of coil in here, and I don't know what that's, some type of resistance coil or what's going on there. Or I'm not gonna hook it up direct to it, because if I do that, and this is some type of resistance coil, that could fry my fuel pump and the car won't be reliable. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy a fuel pump. And by the way, to get underneath that thing and work on it, food for thought there. All right, I think this is like a fan belt tool or something. See if this will work. So the main thing you want to see is those ridges. So this lip grabs that and it goes across, and it's got to go down and then up, and they click into those. We want to keep everything really clean. So this, when it goes in there, there's an O-ring. See how that clicked in? Connector here. You inspect, nothing wrong with that. Goes all the way in, and it clicked. And then there's your locking tab. Take them out to reverse. Do that, and push down on that, and pull it out. So to get this one, just kind of flap it around over there and slide it across. 55.5 pounds of pressure. So the car is fixed.